Mr. Arteaga, thank you for stepping into the Taiwanese American community. I'm Unan. I'm Unan Lin. I live in Castro Valley. You didn't mention Castro Valley earlier, but I'm sure it's one of the.
Yes, thank you. We just had an art competition there Saturday.
Even though I share the same lane as Linsanity, I have no Linsanity at all. I'm a geophysicist, retired from Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. And today I'd like to step on another foot of my Taiwanese American 2 feet. As American, I'm very concerned about consumer rights. And we all influenced very greatly by advertisements. I'm sure everybody look at advertisements and choose something which is cheap to go buy it. But we don't have, you mentioned information earlier, we don't have enough information in those advertisements. I suggest that the advertisement should be required to mention where are the items coming from. Usually something from China is cheap, but no good. So based on those advertisement information, we may trap into a very bad situation. So I suggest that advertisement should be regulated to provide the information about the source of the item being advertised. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My wife and I are just learning, we're learning that cheap isn't always cheap. Sometimes when you buy something, it may not be cheap, but in the long run, you can buy more. Thank you so much for providing that. I'll make sure that we get that to them. I know.
I can email you my question so you can.
I will give you my cards. We'll have them.
Thank you.
I know a company called Blvd in San Francisco that works on being able to find out where certain products are being made, and if they rate them by making sure that they are both safe for the environment, safe for the consumer. And I think that there's a culture of being able to be a conscious consumer, which I think is starting to pick up, and I hope that we continue to do that, and I'll certainly bring that up to the Congressman. Sir?
One theme that kind of unites everyone in this room is their concern about the future status of Taiwan. And recently there's been the Taiwan Policy Act of 2013, which includes House Resolution 419. It will strengthen the relationship between the United States and Taiwan, the people of the two countries. It's not, formal diplomatic recognition, but I think it's a step in the right direction, and I think we're all watching it very closely. So I think it would be great if, representatives like Representative Swalwell could get behind this act. I know it's currently being debated in Congress, but I think we would appreciate that very much from our community.
Great. Do you know where it is in the process?
To be honest, I don't know.
It just unanimously passed the subcommittee on foreign relations.
Yes,
so shortly it should after pass. Yes.
Okay.
And it's the most comprehensive legislation since the Taiwan Relations Act.
Okay.
So it'll actually be not just a resolution, but enforce some arms sales. But I think one of the cornerstones would be official visits from Taiwanese officials to the United States, which is currently prohibited.
Great. Please make sure that when I give you your card to let me know about that. I certainly want to follow up with our legislative team to make sure that we look into that.
I just want to reemphasize that I think a lot of folks in the community, first generation and second generation, are really watching that carefully because we're really tired of this lack of official or diplomatic relations, recognition of Taiwan. So some sort of step towards normalization of relations means a lot for our future generations as well. But just more of a technical question. Once it passes subcommittee, because we're not really familiar with how it works, what's the next step? How long do these things take? What happens? And what's realistic?
It definitely depends on the political atmosphere. So obviously, what just happened at Sandy Hook and what has been happening with our gun control, it certainly had taken the place of immigration because, to my recollection, immigration is going to be debated. It's starting in January. So when Sandy Hook happened, gun control started getting a lot of momentum, and that took the place of immigration reform, and now they're talking about immigration reform being dealt with probably this summer. So it definitely depends on it depends on many factors. So there are a lot of things that can contribute to a bill being in a way filibustered so that it will never, show up to the floor. That's why I asked where it was in terms of where it is, because that affects the overall outcome of the bill. And if there's a lot of interest, I think the most important thing that you should have in mind is if there's ever a bill that you're interested in, it does matter who calls Congress, who calls the congressional offices. So if there's something that you can take away from today is that the more the community calls about this issue to our office, the more conservative members of Congress hear from us, hear from you all about what's important to you. That will obviously take the place of whatever is being debated. Sometimes the most meaningless bill will come to the floor, and that's because of the atmosphere, the 9% approval rating of Congress. I mean, it's embarrassing. How do we have 9%? That we have such a low rating in Congress. So I think what I'm basically trying to answer to you is that it really depends on the bill, and it really depends on the momentum. So the Taiwanese community is very interested in this. I would recommend that they reach out to their members of Congress, they write to them, they call them, and they do it in such a way that they show that there's a force behind it and that they really want to make that happen. I'd be more than happy to present an entire review of the case along with my legislative team to Eric Swalwell, and we would go from there. But for people who aren't in this room, who are your friends, who are your community, who are your family, and that don't live in the 15th congressional district, and who live in other congressional districts, they should definitely be reaching out to those members of Congress. And you don't just have Congressman Eric Swalwell that represents you in D.C. You also have Barbara Boxer, Senator Dianne Feinstein, who also can bring them up, because it's not just in the House of Representatives that things happen, but it's also in the Senate that needs to pass, and then it goes to the President to be signed. So it's definitely being able to target your message to the House, the Senate, and then the President himself. So that would be my say about how to be able to get this movement happening, which I'm sure you guys are already doing. So. Yes, sir.
I guess one of the big issue concern in this Taiwanese community, either here or internal inside the island, is the past president of the Taiwan, Mr. Chen Shui-bian, has been put in prison after he stepped down from his presidency, and he has been in prison for 3 years, something like that. And he's been treated accused as something like corruption in his office. But a lot of people, most of the Taiwanese people know that's a political persecution, because in his treatment, in his court, procedure, it's been changed to judge by the authority, and the authority also used the false witness to accuse him to that corruption. So we all know that the procedure is unfair and unjust. I wondered whether the congressman could use his power, in the congressman to raise the voice and concern about his case. And not only that, he's been treated in the hospital and then been observed by the expert in medical treatment that he's been serious in his mind and in his mind and his psyche, and he's in a great depression. And they suggest that he should be out in the prison and to be better close to his family and being served, probation out for the treatment. And I think we all agree that we should respect the opinion of the expert in medical treatment. So I would like to see the congressman to have some concern about is humanitarian and also human rights aspect in of our past president, who is the first indigenous and very respected president by all the Taiwanese people.
Thank you so much. I will certainly make sure of that. Do you know, is he in Taiwan now or is he in China?
In Taiwan.
In prison.
In prison.
And has several suicidal attempts.